This is anxiety, an alarm ringing loud, with no fire anywhere in sight. It isn't warning you about a danger you can see. It goes off for something that might happen, and it won't switch off. And it tends to show up at the worst moment. At night, right when you finally want to sleep. You lie down tired, you turn off the light, and your mind takes off on its own. Tomorrow's the day, the exam, the interview, that conversation you can't predict. It's 1:30, you're still awake, worn out, and unable to stop thinking. There's no fire anywhere, and still the alarm won't come down. Welcome to Doodle Feelings. Today we're talking about anxiety and how to turn its volume down. Fear sees something concrete right in front of you, warns you, and once the danger passes, it switches off. Anxiety doesn't. It rings for a danger that isn't here and isn't now. It rings for something that might happen, for the what if, for a future you can't touch. You can't find anything to run from. The smoke isn't in the room. And that's the trap. With a present danger, you do something and it stops. But with a threat that's far off and uncertain, there's nothing to do right now. So the alarm just keeps ringing, with no off button. And here's the most revealing part. Researchers at University College London set out to measure what really stresses us. They built a game. Turning over certain rocks would sometimes reveal a snake and a small electric shock. Sometimes they told you a shock was coming for sure. Sometimes, maybe yes, maybe no. And they measured real stress, sweat, pupils, nerves. And what they found flips everything. The people who knew for certain a shock was coming were calmer than the ones who didn't know if it would come at all. Uncertainty stressed them more than the bad news for sure. It's not the bad thing that weighs the most. It's not knowing. And that's exactly what anxiety is made of. And while your mind spins away up there, off in the future, it's your body that pays the bill down here. Because anxiety, before it's a thought, is a physical state, and the mark it leaves on the body is a peculiar one. It isn't a sharp jolt that shows up, pushes you to run, and then leaves. Anxiety doesn't strike. It stays. It's a low engine, running all the time, that you don't know how to switch off. Your shoulders creep up without you noticing. Your jaw clenches. Your chest goes tight, as if something were squeezing it from the outside. Your muscles stay braced for an action that never comes. Your breathing turns short and high. Your stomach churns, closes up, and your appetite disappears. And a restlessness runs through you. You can't sit still. You jiggle your leg. You check your phone. You get up without knowing what for. And the most exhausting part? The body won't switch off even to sleep. You're tired, but inside, you're still racing. That's why falling asleep is so hard. You want to rest, and your system keeps standing guard. And it isn't weakness. It's your body trying to get you ready for something that matters to you. It's just firing for a danger it can't face right now, and all that energy stays circling inside, with nowhere to go. And up above, the mind does its part. It grabs that something's wrong, the body sends up, and goes looking for what? It asks, what if? What if it goes wrong? What if I can't? And it finds 1,000 answers, all pointing forward, all uncertain. An alarm needs a reason, and if there's none here, the mind goes looking for one in the future. But a future can't be solved. It doesn't exist yet, and that's the message of anxiety. Put simply, there's something I care about that could go wrong and that I can't solve right now. It isn't a flaw, it's a signal that something's been left open. The problem isn't the message, it's the volume. And there's one thing that almost always makes it worse: fighting the feeling. Researchers at Trinity University in Texas tested this with something very simple. They asked a group of people, whatever they did, not to think about a white bear. The result? They couldn't get it out of their heads. The harder you push a thought away, the more it comes back. With anxiety, it's the same. The more you fight what you feel, the more you confirm to your system that there really is an emergency here. Resisting doesn't switch it off. It feeds it. And this doesn't only happen the night before something big. It's the curt message you read and reread, unable to work out what it meant. It's waiting for a reply that doesn't come, the Monday drawing closer, the call that could bring anything, the medical result you don't have yet. The situation changes. The alarm is the same. Something open that you can't close yet. So what do you do with an alarm that rings for something that isn't here? There's one way to answer it that feeds it, and another that turns its volume down. The difference starts with a single question. But first, the trap. The path your body begs for is to find certainty now. Check your phone again. Look up the symptom online. Get someone to tell you everything's going to be fine. Go over the problem for the 40th time, hunting for a way out that never appears. And it works. For a minute. Relief arrives, as if you'd solved something. But you closed nothing. The future is just as uncertain as before, and all your system learned is that calm comes from checking and controlling. So it asks again, louder, and you end up organizing your whole day around quieting an alarm that, as long as you obey it, never switches off. The other path starts the opposite way. Instead of running toward the future in your head, you come back to the body, right here. Because the alarm lives in the body, and that's where you can turn its volume down. And it starts with your breathing. Breathe in slowly, and let the air out even more slowly, long, all the way to the end. A few times. That slow release tells the body, in its own language, that there's no fire here. The alarm drops a few degrees. It doesn't vanish, it drops. And that's enough to think. And with the alarm a little lower, comes the question that sorts everything out. Is there something concrete I can do right now about this? There are only two answers, and each one has its own path. If it's yes, I can send that email, pack the bag, book the appointment. You do that concrete thing, the one that's within your reach today. It doesn't solve the whole future, but it gives that energy a real place to go. Anxiety hates small, concrete action. It feeds on going round and round in the air, but often the honest answer is no. There's nothing to be done in the middle of the night about something that only gets decided tomorrow. And that's where the hardest move is, and the most freeing, to stop fighting the feeling, not to demand it leave right away, but to let it sit there, uncomfortable, without obeying what it asks of you. Think of it like a car alarm. Sometimes it goes off for something real, but often it's set off by a noise that left nothing behind, a passing truck, a clap of thunder, and it blares just as loud. If you hit the car to shut it up, you only make it worse. But if there was no harm and you stop triggering it, it quiets down on its own. With anxiety, it's the same. You don't switch it off by fighting. You stop feeding it, and it comes down by itself. And in the meantime, you anchor yourself in the one thing that does exist, right now. Your feet on the floor, the air coming in. Because the alarm lives in the future, and the future isn't here. Now, careful with the opposite. Sometimes anxiety is pointing at something real. A bill that needs paying, a conversation you keep avoiding, a checkup that's due. There. It's not about just breathing. It's about taking the step. Listen too well, it's sometimes a to-do list disguised as an alarm. Two answers, two opposite results. Fighting the feeling and running to find certainty reinforces the false alarm. You make it more and more sensitive, going off over nothing. Coming back to the body, doing the little that's within your reach and letting the rest pass does the opposite. It slowly reprograms it, a little at a time. When it comes back, and it will come back, that night you toss and turn unable to sleep, or that engine running with no clear reason, remember? It's not an emergency. It's an alarm flagging something left open. And an alarm is something you can listen to without obeying, because an alarm can be reprogrammed. Every time you don't treat it like a fire, you teach it to tell the difference, and little by little it stops going off at every doubt. It's not about silencing it, or not feeling. A body that lights up for what you care about isn't broken. It's a well-calibrated alarm, quiet when there's no fire, and ready for when you truly need it. Now tell me, when does your alarm go off with no fire, and what do you do when it rings? Tell me in the comments about a time you let a false alarm ring without running off to obey it. I love reading them. If this helped, subscribe and stick around. Here, little by little, we learn to recognize and name what we feel. Next episode, confidence. That feeling when you can finally lower your guard with someone and stop having to protect yourself. See you there.